My favorite one is when Crowley is having the blind date with Sheriff Jody Mills. And the great thing about that setup is that the audience knows who Crowley is and Jody Mills doesn't. So you lot are all going, right? And she's like, oh, he's so nice. And I got her crying and I'm holding her hand. I changed the tie for that. Do you remember that? It was really funny. It was the first time I ever changed the tie. I was like, really? I have a tie for dates? It was so funny.
Big hand for Mark Sheppard.
How you doing, guys? So my wife just freaked out. Yeah. She was driving and the gas gauge had gone down to E, which means enough for most people. And suddenly it was 20 miles in the range, and then it was like 6 miles. And she's like, calls me and panicked. Two things. The only reason why my wife panics is what happened to me in December. Right? So everyone's a little sensitive, a little uncomfortable with anything that happened, as far as that is concerned. You all know the story, but it's kind of fun. The second thing, she was driving my fucking supercar. So 12-cylinder, 725 horsepower Aston Martin can be very toxic with gas. So life is good. And the only reason why I have that car is because I sold 17 motorcycles. My collection of Ducatis got sold because I can't be within 24 inches of a running motor. Such is the price of life. So I have a defibrillator in my chest and I can't be within 24 inches of a running motor. So I have a nice fast car. My wife's driving it going, the gas gauge has gone down to 0. I'm like, okay, there's a lot going on here. So, how you guys doing? It is an absolute pleasure to be in the strangest part of Pennsylvania that I've ever been in. Myself and my best buddy Dave, who actually watched me die in December, so he's got a little PTSD with regards to that. Dave Mitchell, if you haven't seen him, he plays Knuckles. Lovely human being. Ask him about the story sometime, watch his face go white. We arrived last night. He was clever. He flew to Altoona, but his flight was delayed 3.5 hours, so he got here after me. I flew into Pittsburgh and had a 2.5-hour drive with a wonderful gentleman who drove me all the way in, and I'm looking at Altoona going, there's not a lot going on here at this time of night. But like most places that I visit that are like this, it's the people that count. It's always been the people that count. Doesn't matter where I go. Doesn't matter how many terrible chain restaurants there are on a high road. It's the people that make the difference, and it's been lovely so far, and it's been wonderful to see your happy smiling faces, and you guys have you've made it totally worthwhile me coming here. I'm freaking exhausted. I went on tour with Billy Moran and Paul Corella in Europe, did 3 gigs over there, came back 2 days later, went and did a creation gig, weekend later did another one, just got back from that. I just got back from Chicago, and I just came here, and I couldn't tell you just how much love I'm getting today is just wonderful. So thank you for being here, guys. You guys are excellent. I'm already bored and sick of the sound of my own voice. Does anybody have a question? You know what? You can shout it out if you want to, because it's not that big a room. Oh, apparently not.
Well, they told us to come up here. I'm just trying.
What? Don't touch it. It's not yours.
They told us to come up here.
What was that?
They told us to come up here, so I'm just trying to follow the rules.
Oh, yeah, right. You're really a rule follower. We're all individuals. Yes. No. What do you need?
I was just wondering about the ending for you on Supernatural and what your thoughts were on that.
I have none.
Oh, none.
I was busy. I went to go do something else.
Well, I'm glad you got to do
What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah.
Sucked. Sorry.
Yeah.
Some people hate the end of The Sopranos. I loved it.
Well, just for you, we just thought that.
For me? Yes. I just didn't like the stupidity. I actually didn't like the previous 2 seasons for me, so I thought 11 and 12 weren't really that interesting. I think Andrew actually sort of lost interest in Crowley, and he was interested in finding some sort of story that he was running with Pellegrino and Alex and and whatever, and it sort of became, oh, we'll just move Crowley out.
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, that's what happens. So, tough shit. What happens when you lose me? There you go. You get what you get.
Well, how about
All I can tell you is I didn't watch anything else after season 12 anyway. I was busy watching and doing Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
I was on tour for a while with Robin Hitchcock, and then I went and did Doom. If you haven't seen Doom Patrol, you're idiots. Brendan Fraser, Matt Bomer, Timothy Dalton, Diane Guerrero, April Bowlby, Javan Wade, Michelle Gomez, Julian Richings, Julie McNiven's in it. Everybody's in it. It's fantastic. An entire town disappears up the arse of a donkey in the second episode. It is the most bizarre television show that has ever been made in history, and I love every minute of it. And I'm playing Constantine, so kind of cool. Certainly better than that of the stupid angel in the other show. Well, he's wearing a costume. He's not really Constantine.
Well, to follow up with that, maybe a more happy thing. What was your favorite on-set supernatural moment?
End of season 8. End of season 8 was the best thing we ever did. And Jared says the same thing. I mean, it's like, it was an extraordinary time. I mean, you figure like, first 5 seasons were Kripke, beginning, middle, and an end, right? It's supposed to end in end of season 5. You've got an apocalypse. That should be the end of it, right? And then, they gave it to Sarah Gamble, and Sarah's now got to steer a giant cruise ship in an opposite direction. It takes a while. And season 6 is kind of amazing. You got Weekend of Bobbies, you've got French Mistake, you got all sorts of amazing episodes in that. You got really, really good stuff. And it got really cool. And I think season 7, as interesting as it is, the whole Leviathan thing and everything else and where that went to, and season 7, Time for a Wedding and all that sort of era, it would have been a way better season 12 than it was a season 7, because I don't think we were ready for the heavily serialized single story as much as we would be now. I think she did a great job. But then when Jeremy Carver came back in, who also, by the way, ran Doom Patrol, he was like, Angels and Demons, let's go back to what it should be and where it's at. And so we kicked into 8 with a full idea for a story and a full idea of where we were going to go. And it's the work that the people had done before that made that happen. I mean, we built it. And so he was just, hello, don't do that in the middle of a sentence. I can see you. I see your right hand moving. We're all looking at you. So, but we'd built it. We'd done it. So it wasn't that hard to set up and do. And by the time you get to the end, from the time with Abaddon, me in the chair, the boys through the window, the exterior of the church, which is the worst weather I've ever seen in Vancouver in my life. It was really dangerous actually doing that stuff. And then to move onto the stage to do the interior of the church, we then shot everything in sequence, which you never do in television. And we shot it in scene order. And so we just kept building and building and building towards Angels Falling from the Sky, which was, I think, one of the best things we've ever done. And around that time, 6, 7, 8, 9, I was generally used to put the button on the end of the seasons, which was kind of fun. And that's where we get the Demon Dean and we get the stuff. I always thought that was just a magical thing. It was all good. It was all wonderful. I mean, it was an amazing thing to do. But 8 was special. That was us at our top, at our peak, at our best. We knew what we were doing and had an entire crew. Crews work, they're supposed to work, and they're quiet while you work. And then in between, they got shit to do, and, they get to talk and do what they need to do, because it's hard work swinging stuff from ceilings and moving scenes around, because you shoot this side, now you got to shoot this side. It takes 2 hours to turn everything around. You turn the whole army around and relight and do all this stuff. And they were silent between each change. So we stayed in the same mode for like 2.5 days, which meant that everything we did, all the, You're My Marnie Moose and all that stuff, I Deserve to Be Loved and the crying and everything from Abaddon onwards was all done in order. And it made it really, really good. I don't think I came out of the chair for like 2 days. Seriously. The dolly grip, Peter, actually took one of those, a deli counter where they have the numbers that you pull out, right? He put one up next to my chair and started a line of people to punch me in the face. And then 6 months later, we'd be doing something, and if he got annoyed about something, he would just take the ticket out of his wallet and show it to me. It's all about love. Thank you. What do you want? Come on, don't amble up to the mic. Come on, you can do it.
Okay, so it seems like the role of Crowley was like actually written for you because you nailed it. If you could play a different character, who would it be and why?
Why bother? No interest. I did what I do. Crowley was one episode. It was one episode. End up staying there 8 and a bit years. You know, it's a long time to do something. But yeah, it wasn't written for me in that context. What it was it was written. I went in and made it what I wanted to make it. And they went, this is interesting. And then maybe 22 writers over the course of those seasons were all competing to find something funny for me to do and make it as difficult as possible for me to do it. And, you know, they would actually compete to write me stuff, which was fun. At the end of, I did a run of creation gigs that ended in 17 because my friends all had jobs and I didn't. I just thought it was a bit crass to go do conventions and have everybody come up and say, when are you coming back? So I went off and did other things, and that was cool. And then now it's all finished. We're all in the same boat. It's a better thing. It's just a better way of doing it. And I remember it was San Francisco. It was San Francisco. Everybody had the paddles. What? DC, sorry. I always thought it was San Francisco. It was DC with the paddles. You did it, didn't you? You got everybody. How many was there? Well, I did 72 episodes here, right? So everybody held up a paddle, and each paddle had a line that I'd said from each one of the episodes, pretty much. Some from same episodes, but it was, and I was doing my usual wandering around, annoying people as I like to do. Who the hell did you come as? Yeah, you. Yeah. Who's that? Who? Never heard of her. I thought you came as Columbo. I was like really excited for a minute. So 70 odd paddles, and I was walking around and everybody really nervously, so I'm walking around high-fiving babies and enjoying myself. They putting paddles up, and I could see these lines, and I was remembering the context of each of the lines as I was going through. I thought it was a really lovely moment. That's all your fault. It was a good fault. But it was just amazing. It sort of cemented the sort of, I guess, the pathology of the character as he went forwards, how it morphed. You know, I mean, obvious ones. No one in the history of torture has been tortured with torture like the torture you'll be tortured with, oh, Jesus, wow, I can tie my shoelaces. It ends in a preposition, which annoys the hell out of me. So Eugenie Ross Lemming, who wrote that line, knew that it would annoy me because it ends with a preposition. So when you're saying it, it's like, no one in the history of torture. And it's this horrible, I'm talking to 12 people at a table as Abaddon is over there on the other side of the room because it's really badly staged by a director I didn't like very much. And I have to do this, and I'm like, no one in the history of torture has been tortured with torture like the torture you'll be tortured with. And you want to go, torture with, tortured with, torture, tortured with, tortured with. So it's kind of fun. So, you know, there's some great stuff. There's amazing stuff's come out of Crowley lines. Moose and Squirrel comes out of Crowley lines. You know? What are you clapping for? I love you too, but why are you clapping? Because you love Moose and Squirrel? Yeah. Do you know where that comes from? What's it come from? Right, but why do we have Moose and Squirrel? Yeah, but why do we have Moose and Squirrel? Why is Jared a moose? It's not that he's huge, he's a massive upper body strength and chicken legs. I mean, a moose is a driver killing system, right? If you go to Canada, you know, we're up here, you kind of know too. But a moose is like basically 2 tons on sticks at the same height as your windshield. And we've been trying to find insults for Jared for about half a season at that point. God, Gigantor, mop-headed lumberjack. Yeah, that's later, because that's the two of them. The piles of fat flannel is good. That is actually a good one. But before that, it was like Jolly Green, Gigantor, Giraffe, all this, and it just wasn't sticking. And then there's that me in the burnt out mansion, and Dean's at the thing, sitting down with a beer in my burnt out, they burned down my mansion. And I'm like, where's your moose? And he goes, oh, he went to, and that was it. Everyone just went like, oh my God. And then the best one, my favorite, I told the story a lot, but my favorite one is when Crowley is having the blind date with Sheriff Jody Mills. And the great thing about that setup is that the audience knows who Crowley is and Jody Mills doesn't. So you lot are all going, ah! Right? And she's like, oh, he's so nice. And I've got her crying and I'm holding her hand. I changed the tie for that. Do you remember that? It was really funny. It was the first time I ever changed the tie. I was like, really? I have a tie for dates? It was so funny. And so the phone rings, and the phone rings on TV. There's no sound. That gets put in afterwards. They get put in post-production. And then, I look at the phone, and I thought it'd be funny to go, this is the king. The director's like, yeah, he thinks he's funny. And it's obviously Dean calling me, knowing that I've got Jody Mills, and I'm threatening them unless they do what I ask them to do. I'm going to kill her. And you all know I'm going to kill her, and she doesn't, which makes it so mean. It's just awful. She's like, he's such a sweet guy, and he understands me. It's like, yeah, I know. But the joke is that I didn't, until I went to go do ADR on it, I didn't see what music and effects had done. So, first of all, I have a ringtone, which I never heard until I saw it. And it's, I like big butts and I cannot lie. And I'm like, and because I never heard it, it doesn't even register on me. So like, that's just my ringtone. So, and I look at the phone, I look down at the phone, and they cut what's called an insert shot, which is another crew comes in and shoots stuff without me, like somebody else's hand and the phone. And it said, remember what it said on the phone? Not moose, that was it. I was like, so now you got moose and not moose. That is hysterical. That got me. And this is the king. So, yeah, fun stuff. And what you get from this stuff, I hope, is that it's 150 people trying to make really good television. It's not just actors and directors and writers. It's everybody. Every single person involved is trying to do it. There's never enough money. There's never enough time. There's things you have to cut because it's going to just take too much time to do, or it's too expensive to build, or you can't get to that set on a certain day, or the weather's going to screw you up, or whatever it's going to do. And it's compromise after compromise after compromise to get a piece of television done. But the work that goes into it to still try to make it the best thing we can make it is what we're so proud of. And that's what was magic. I went for one episode. Yeah, might as well do the rest. What do you want, darling?
Hi. So I met you at MementoCon, and you named my back tattoo, and my question originally was about your tattoos, but you brought up motorcycles, and my partner and I ride. I have a 500, and he has a 650. Which Ducati that you had was your favorite, and what did it max out at?
Are you serious?
My 500 maxes out at 125.
Really?
I'm just a beginner rider.
Oh.
I'm getting there. I want a Gixxer 800 or a leader bike next.
V4 Superleggera.
Damn.
Right?
Damn.
234 horsepower. Maxed out about 240 miles an hour.
Damn.
Right? Built of nothing but unidirectional carbon fiber, magnesium, titanium, rubber. That's it. $100,000 motorcycle, and they lost about $150,000 building it.
Damn.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That
It actually
like
is
monster.
safer the faster you go. So 165 miles an hour is 110 pounds of downforce on the front wheel. Has wings that were deemed illegal in MotoGP. Pecco took my bike around Portimao and came in, I think, 2.5 seconds under his MotoGP speed.
Wow.
And they're like, how the hell? He goes, well, you got the illegal wings. One, illegal for MotoGP, not for road. And he said, you're also not riding on Michelin's. I was riding on Pirelli's. So.
I want to attend the Isle of Man races.
Isle of Man TT is terrifying. People die. Mm-hmm. It's really scary. It takes about 10 years to learn the course. So, V4 Superleggera, 1299 Superleggera, 1199 Superleggera, Desmo Sedici RR.
Superleggeras.
Well, they're the top bikes that Ducati ever built. Desmo Sedici R, which is a V4, 08, which had about 200 horsepower, no electronics. Terrifying. Very hard to ride. You need to wear leathers riding it because it burn your legs. 2012 Multistrada Pikes Peak, 2024 Multistrada Pikes Peak, Sport Classic 1000, another Sport Classic 1000, one of the rarest monsters there was, 1100R monster, a Foggy, V4 Foggy, a 1998 916 SPS USAR, which is a one of 50 bikes. What else I had? A few others. I had a Shinya Kimura built shovelhead and a Shinya Kimura built knucklehead as well. All gone, all sold.
My first ride was an 83 FLHT Road King.
Oh, they're fun. I had a 99. A 99. Nice, they're nice bikes, but Shinya builds nice bikes. That's like, Japanese bobbers. Beautiful things. 17 bikes, all gone. I have 4 bikes left. They're in Washington. And they're 4 Velocette Thruxtons. 265s, a 67, a 69. 265, 66, a 69. But they're worth a lot of money. 500cc singles.
Yeah.
46 horsepower, 126 miles an hour. Built in 1965, 66, and 69. It's the most you could do on those. Love them. Beautiful things. Can't ride. I'm done. Leathers, helmets, all given away. So no more.
It would have been wonderful to ride with you.
Well, you wouldn't have caught me. Got about 100 miles an hour on you.
Hi, Mark. You were in one of the early episodes of The X-Files where you were the fire starter guy. Do you have any cool rememberings of being on The X-Files?
I've been dead, but I remember everything I did. Yeah, it wasn't a series at the time. They hadn't even been picked up as a series.
Yeah,
kind of
it was
fun.
one of the early episodes.
Yeah, it was actually filmed as 11 and went out as 12. Wow. So, yeah, I made a lot of money on that because we ran over on everything. Really? It just took so long to do. There's no CGI in that entire episode. That's all fire. That's me at the end of the hallway. Wow. Yeah, if you look really closely, you can see me duck down at the end of the shot because there was a backdraft coming my way. It's terrifying. I was on fire. Kind of fun. I still have the jacket. Burnt up jacket. It's a lot of fun to do. Great series. Still get residuals on it. 1993, yeah. Good God, it's crazy. It's popular everywhere in the world. Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey,
Hey, Your Majesty.
That's a little better.
Actually, I have a question about your time on Doctor Who. Yeah. Whenever you were doing the two-parter with everyone, did you get to do like offset hangouts with Matt and Karen and all? Did you chill when you weren't shooting? How long were you shooting those episodes for?
It's a lot of questions.
I'm sorry. I just I've been thinking about meeting you for
No. I appreciate it. I was just having fun with you, but it was an extraordinary experience. I was shooting episode 12 of a Supernatural season, which I can't remember, whichever one it was. But I can't remember what season it was, but it was episode 12. And the trouble with episode 12 is that's the fastest turned around. It's the last episode before the mid-season break. So you've only got about 12 or 14 days before it airs. Normally you can have months before to prep stuff. So it's not an effects-heavy episode, it's a talk-heavy episode. And I featured huge in it. And I got a phone call saying, would you like to do Doctor Who? And I went, yeah. And I called Jim Michaels and he goes, I can't let you go. I got to flip this episode. I can't give you those days. So I was like, I can't do this, guys. And so one of the heads from Doctor Who from BBC went, are you doing anything now? I mean, what do you mean now? And he said, tomorrow. And I went, no. He said, why don't you come over? We'll flip the schedule. So they worked out how to flip the schedule. And I went, great. But I hadn't asked permission from Warner Brothers at the time. So I got a phone call from Johnny Mack, no longer with us, wonderful first AD, and he goes, please tell me you're not on a plane. I'm like, no, but I was going to. He's like, you can't, because what if you don't get back? We're screwed. So called Sarah Gamble, and I was like, so it must have been season 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I think I screwed up. She goes, what'd you do? I told her. She goes, I'll call you back in an hour. 2.5 hours later, I get a phone call, and it's from Johnny Mac going, all right, get on the plane. If you're late, I'm going to kill you. So I genuinely flew backwards and forwards 4 times to shoot both at the same time. I literally got off a plane. I finished work, got to the airport, got on a plane, got out the other end, get in a car, drove to set and worked on Who. Finished up there a couple of days, turned around, got on a plane, came back to Vancouver and shot. Did that both
Just
at the same
sleeping
time.
on your flights between?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. But, so when they called me, they said, when are you going to do the prosthetics fitting? I went, for what? I said, well, the old you. I said, why don't you just ask my dad to do it? They're like, would he do it? I'm like, of course he will. I didn't ask him. I called him, he lived down the road, he lived down the road from me. And I said, like, so you're doing Doctor Who? He goes, oh God, is it all bits of string and cardboard scenery? I'm like, no, it's fabulous. And he goes, what's it like? And I went, okay, hold on. So I went around, I took him everything from fish fingers and custard forwards, right? And he was watching Matt, he was going, oh, this boy is amazing. And he fell in love with it instantly. And so the trouble is they were filming his stuff in Utah. So we were in Lake Powell. And a BBC production in England is huge. A BBC production shooting in Utah is non-union, tiny, low-budget stuff, like with no craft service. And it's like, because they're just amazed you can go to a foreign country and work. So my dad had to ask the union for dispensation to go work as a non-union thing. They're like, hello, Morgan here. I'm going to do this Doctor Who thing. So what you want is a waiver. Really? Is that what I want? Yes, Morgan, you want a waiver. Okay, I want a waiver. So he got a waiver and he did it. And he loved it. He absolutely enjoyed it wonderfully. So that was the biggest 2 episodes Who had ever shot. Helicopters and all sorts of crazy stuff. And they were wonderful. And Matt and everybody else are just like the loveliest people. I worked my arse off on that. It was fun.
Do you ever want to return to the series at all?
I never got asked. Stephen left at a certain point, you know.
Yeah.
I was going to do Sherlock, and the character I wanted to play, which both Gatiss and Moffat knew I wanted to play, got taken by the movie, the second Downey movie. It's like, we're not going to touch it. I'm like, eh. But they knew I wanted to do it, and that would have been playing Sebastian Moran. But that's, we'll see. Things happen, they don't, whatever.
Thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure. Hey, you.
Hi.
You're Ruth-sized.
So I'm only on the second season. My apologies. 5th season of Supernatural, so I'm nowhere near the Crowley season. So
There you
sorry
are.
if this question
That's the
is
5th season.
basic and you've probably
Hold
heard
on.
this a million times.
Hold on. Pause. You're on the 5th season of Supernatural? Yes, I'm in that season.
Then I'm not at the episode that you are in.
Episode? I start appearing in episode 10, Abandon All Hope. And it's a hell of an entrance.
Noted.
Kissing a man called L. Harvey Gold under a crossroads. Very interesting use of a crossroads. It's actually one of the cleverest crossroads you'll ever see. And the kiss is extraordinarily funny. And I'll tell you now, when you get to watch it, you'll get the giggles. He fought me every step of the way. Miserable bastard. So you don't know who I am.
Not really.
Have you ever watched television any time in your life?
No, I've
How old are you?
lived in a hole.
How old are you?
15.
Well, we're in Altoona. Don't be mean about Altoona like that.
Anyway, my question is, what's your favorite story from any on-set thing?
Not telling you.
Yeah, fair.
Do you know we have something rather magical with those 15 years is that we have tons of outtakes. And if you're really, really clever, you'll pull up something called Nerd HQ, which is Zachary Levi ostensibly interviewing Jared. And we crash his panel. And that's when, He asked us to. And that's after a whole weekend of working at San Diego Comic-Con and doing all the press for the year and all the stuff I do with, it would be me and Misha for a day and a half doing a year's worth of press and photo shoots and everything. And that's what all those silly photographs are, the piggyback photographs and stuff. We're bored out of our mind. And then the boys would breeze in and do it, and then we'd go Sunday morning and do Hall H. And we'd finished Hall H, and then we'd go across to the baseball stadium, across the street. Oh, let's see who that is. It's my front door. You never know. Hey, my wife could be an emergency, so I left the phone on. Got to know just in case. Driving my bloody car. And the Nerd HQ thing, you'll see, Jensen put it this way, he said, you'll see when the four of us became the four of us. 10 minutes of those bastards doing pirate impressions of me.
Oh, God! That
Miserable.
sounds like a certain type of torture.
Oh, you'll see. But go watch that, you'll be like, okay, I get it. And when you see what we play and how we play, it'll make a lot more sense of what we do when we work.
Okay.
Hiya.
Hi. Now that Supernatural is celebrating its 20th anniversary next November, which I only know because I'm the same age as, what was your key favorite moment from on set?
Told you. End of season 8. What, were you disappointed in that answer?
No.
Don't be disappointed. It was magical. There is a lovely, at the end of season 9 when you get Demon Dean, my only direction in that scene from Tom Wright was, I see you in the doorway in silhouette at the opening. The rest of it's up to you. And of course, Dean's on the bed, right? Now, it's the end of the season. We have finished shooting. This is the last shot of the year. So they may or may not have been imbibing in whiskey, because all he's got to do is lie on a bed. So they might have been polished off a bottle of whiskey between them and everyone's partying and having fun while I've got to do this 6-page speech. He's just lying in a bed. And a few times he popped up in the middle of my speech just to scare the crap out of me. God. But that was fun, and I was trying to find where I wanted to be when I was giving that speech. And the chair was really interesting because the chair had 2 arms. I tried sitting on that little couch that was opposite, and it didn't quite work. Tom said, well, what do you think? And I said, I think I'm going to be in this chair. And as soon as I sat in the chair, I kept thinking of the Lincoln Memorial. And because it's a speech about I never lied. And I was like, wow, this is really kind of in the Honest Abe pitch of stuff. And it became really, really weird as a result of that. So, poor bastard off his tits, laying in the bed, and then, that moment of opening the eyes, which is like, holy crap. So we were doing the DVDs of that, right? So the DVDs come out later, obviously, once the season's gone for a while, the DVDs get done. And I told Warner Brothers, I said, have you seen the reaction videos? Have you actually seen the reaction videos for the end of season 9? And they're like, no. I said, there was all these viewing parties with loads of night shoot cameras, and the screaming. They put the camera on the audience as they're watching the end of the episode, and the eyes open like this. So I was like, go pull them. And they got all the permission to put them on. They put them on the DVDs as the extras. It was like absolutely amazing. I said, it's the best description of what the Supernatural family does with what we give them. So viewing parties that scared the absolute crap out of them. I think it's the best jump scare in the whole thing. I just wish they'd carried it on a little longer. I think that the network got nervous after about 3 episodes that Dean would somehow be irredeemable or not our hero and I was like, he would have been so much cooler if he'd have gone a whole season. It's the same thing with the stuff with Ruth, which is really weird for me. It's like, I think Ruth's brilliant. I think she played Rowena absolutely amazing, but it's never made sense to me that she could be Crowley's mother. It just doesn't make any sense. She's Fergus's mother. She's not Crowley's mother. And I think that's a massive waste of time. I think what she should have been is Crowley's ex-wife. That would have been absolutely terrifying and would have ran for about 10 years. It would have been a really interesting way to do it, and that would have made the kid a different thing. It would have made all sorts of things a different thing. But she was so committed to it, and she was so good at it. And while I was ostensibly going, you know, okay, yeah, I know, they got to bring Mary back, and it's all about mothers and stuff, but it's a very boyish view of the overview of what happens. I mean, the nuances of how everybody played it is fantastic. That's not the point. The acting was fantastic, and the nitty-gritty of the writing, but the overview of it being you know, the whole mummy fixation thing. I was like going, so I had to play it as, well, everybody else has a mother, why don't I? Because Crowley doesn't have a mother. Crowley's a New York English publisher. So it has no real, maybe the ghost of Fergus is somewhere in him, but it's so not a 4'7" Scottish crofter with ginger hair who sold his soul for 3 inches of extra penis, which doesn't make any. So I get, you know, little girls coming to go, was it? I'm like, I'm not Fergus, I'm Crowley. You know what I mean? It messes with the canon as far as I'm concerned. I never thought it was a good idea, but she played the shit out of it. She made it work. And I thought the least I can do is try to make it work with her, you know? I think she's so fantastic at that. But if you went back and if I could change anything, I would change that she'd actually be my ex-wife. Because that would have been such a great... We almost had that dynamic anyway. Because it wasn't like creepy mummy stuff. It was like one step removed. Am I boring you? Your anxiety? You okay? By the way, you did brilliantly. And it was a really good question. Hey, you.
What inspired you to be an actor?
I don't know, the telling of stories. I'm a musician. I'm an actor. I'm in a lot of things, and I'm good. I'm good at what I do. It's not like something I did a bit of or told somebody I could do. It's something I love doing. I really love doing. And it doesn't seem to matter whether it's music or poetry or film or it doesn't matter. The chance to tell a story, the chance to perform something. Passion is everything. If you don't care, it's worthless. I mean, you're in marching band. What do you play?
Percussion.
What do you play?
Huh?
What do you play?
Snare drum.
You play snare? See, most of my favorite drummers that are American all did that. So like Travis, everybody else, they're all marching band guys. There's so many guys I know, especially in hip-hop and urban community, all started out marching band. It's a wonderful thing, but just learning how to play, Swiss flams and paradiddles, okay, it's good. It's really useful if you want to make music. My oldest son is a record producer. He's 24 years old. He produced Miley Cyrus's last record. He got 2 Grammy Award nominations for Best Album and Best Pop Album on his first record. He loves music. He doesn't listen to music to play other people's music. He didn't learn an instrument to play other people's stuff. He learned so he could express himself. And if you find something that you like expressing yourself and that's what you like to do, it doesn't matter what it is. That's the most incredible thing in the world. Remember, there's 2 types of jobs in life, right? There's the job you do so you can do the stuff you want to do. And then there's the job you love. And if you can find the job you love, oh my word, it is outrageous how much fun it is. How old are you?
12.
You've got the whole world ahead of you. You've got if you can find the passion, if you can find the thing that makes you scream, shout, jump, cry, whatever, not a boy. I'm serious. If you can find the thing that just makes you go, yeah, this is what I care about. Stuff that scares you, it doesn't matter. I did something. I just did something. You find that, it's magic. It changes your life. So pursue it. And you can't always make a living out of that. So sometimes you just got to get really good grades and really good stuff so that you can do that when you want to. Being a professional at something and getting paid for it, that's just a privilege. That's luck and a lot of other things. But find something you love, because that's everything. Right? Deal?
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Welcome. That's the best question I've had in a really long time. By the way, you didn't sell your soul to Crowley. I checked. You don't have a soul.
All right, fair enough.
You sold it for something else. What can I do for you?
I was just wondering what your favorite moments were filming with Jim Beaver, as I love the dynamic.
Oh, yeah, the kiss thing is the thing that you want to talk about.
Not really. I just want to know what your.
You know, I have that on my phone, right? I have the originals on my phone.
I do.
Look, you that's on season 5 episode, not my episode, put your fingers in your ears for a second. So I'd kissed a guy on set, and it's a story, and it's funny, and that's my introduction to it. So they told Jim this was going to be a component of one of the episodes. And the joke is, it's not me kissing him that you see, it's the photograph of me having kissed him that you see, right? So Jim's like, hey, you know, he's been to Vietnam, he's done the things in his life, and he's written plays, and he's a fantastic actor, and he's whatever, and now he's got to kiss Mark Sheppard. So intellectually, it's no problem for him. I've just noticed you're dressed rather well back there, sir. So directly behind the worst dressed person in the room is one of the best dressed people in the room. I love that. Stand up, give me a 12. Oh yeah, see, that's class. You could learn something from that young lady. Just so you know, right? What was I talking about? Oh, Jim, yeah. So he knew intellectually what was going to happen, and they tortured him. They absolutely I wish there was. We rolled 4 cameras on that. My iPhone, everybody else's iPhones. He was kissing me for 5.5 minutes. It felt like 2 hours. He's got lovely soft lips. It's like kissing a piece of paper, for God's sake. It's not that exciting. But just the torture they were putting him through to do it was the most fun I think we had in a long time. And it's a great gag. And it's so Jared to find the one flaw in somebody's statement about 30 seconds later. Hold on a second. You kiss him? Like as a non sequitur? No! It's like, you know? I love it. I love that piece. That was a very clever day. Oh, we killed him. We absolutely. So yeah, I've done all these stuff. I've been to Vietnam, written all this stuff. All I'm going to remember it for is kissing Mark Sheppard. I'm going to have to start selling that photo. Corey was telling me, he's like, he gets so pissed off at it. He's so uncomfortable about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. Next time you see him, give him a kiss from me. Hey, you.
What do you like being?
That's okay. Don't move him around. He's doing fine. Do whatever you want to do. What do you want to know?
What do you like being more? What do you like being in more? Supernatural or Doctor Who?
It's an interesting question.
He just started watching Doctor Who.
Who is amazing? Who is like special and different? Supernatural is special and different. I've been so lucky in my life. I've played characters in lots of shows that people love. And that's the most magical thing, is I've been lucky enough to tell stories as different characters and had millions of people all over the world going, that's my favorite show, or that's my favorite show. I enjoyed them both for different reasons. Supernatural was nearly a decade of my life. You know, I knew the boys before they had kids, before they were married. You know, I had certainly one less kid. I met my wife through Supernatural. I mean, it's a big deal. My life is different because of Supernatural. I love that. But Who was magic. I worked with my father. I got to work with my daddy on that, which is kind of magical. He's no longer around. So yeah, what do you like best?
Since I don't think I really watched Supernatural or Doctor Who.
Oh. Well, you know, the people that make Doctor Who would be so proud of the fact that you like it, because that you're who they're making it for. Genuinely. Because we all, who here are Whovians or Who fans? Right. Every one of you didn't start watching it as adults, did you? You started watching it as kids. And it has a special thing for kids because it's smart, it's clever, it questions things that you don't get to question. You're probably a pretty smart kid. And that, it's called behind the sofa television, because you're hiding behind the sofa. Stephen Moffat is so crazy, right, that he saw a crack in his son's bedroom wall and went, what if that's a crack in the fabric of space and time? And you get a season of insanity out of that. So it's called, what's your favorite baddie in Doctor Who? Who scares the hell out of you? Weeping Angels?
I don't really know anything.
Have you seen the Weeping Angels? You won't sleep. You seen which? The Silence is mine. Pretty scary. Weeping Angels, you won't sleep for 3 days. It's, if you do, make sure you watch it in the summer when you don't have to go to school and your parents can handle the fact that you're going, oh my God, that's crazy, 3 days later. I think it's brilliant. Quantum locked assassins who look like statues until you blink, and that's when they move. It's not nice. It is fundamentally disturbing. Hey, Dave, this is a junior version of you. It's my mate, Dave. Dave does some of the most amazing voices in video games and all sorts of fun stuff, and cartoons and all sorts of crazy stuff. You know, he plays Knuckles. He's Knuckles. It's kind of cool. When you get old enough to play Call of Duty, you'll really find out what he does for a living. But I can't wait for you. You can do that. You just got to find yourself a calm week where you don't have to go to school, right? And you can watch The Weeping Angels. I'm telling you now. And you're going to have to hold somebody's hand for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Deal?
Deal.
Nice one. Thank you for your question. Is Casey hiding in the back there somewhere? What's going on? What do you want, my darling?
If you weren't an actor, what would your profession back be?
I'm a musician, so I work as a musician as well.
So you'd be
Always
a
have.
full-time musician?
I've always been a musician. I made scores of albums and toured with loads of people. I opened the Joshua Tree tour in Croke Park in Dublin in 1987. I've been in bands since I was 12 years old. I've been making records since I was 15. I'm 60. I've been doing it a long time. I don't know. That's not what defines me. Nothing defines. My job doesn't define me. That's not what it is. It's actually more interesting what I'm not. You know? It's nice to be able to affect change and do things. People, it must be really disconcerting for a lot of you. I mean, you all know, right? You all know I died a bunch of times, right? You all know that's it. So you would imagine, as good, kind, and gentle people, that it's had a profound effect on me. I got to tell you, in a strange way, it hasn't. I'm sober a really long time. I'm sober nearly 35 years. And I've had many, many occurrences in my life that don't make sense. And many, many things that have happened that are nothing short of miraculous. My dad used to say to me, he said, if you fell in the river, you come out with a fucking salmon in your mouth. It's an interesting way of looking at things. I never felt that. But he said, like, if you really look at your life, it's been rather extraordinary. I don't do anything by halves, apparently, including dying. And while it is epiphanal in some ways, it was the most anger-inducing moments I've ever had in my life, because I genuinely felt like I wasn't done, and I hadn't done some of the things I needed to do. Personal things, my family, the things that are important to me, things that are important to all of us, the things that matter to all of us. I'm literally going, I'm just going to leave a mess dying right now in my kitchen. I'm screwing over every one of these people, and I can't help them. My PTSD, my trauma is not from dying. I don't have any trauma from dying. I just fought. I had the most incredible EMT, 25-year veteran who saved my life, broke every rule in the book, and got me 6.3 miles in Los Angeles rush hour traffic in 6 minutes. Yeah, it's insane. I had 15 heart stoppages in 2 days, and the 4 at the end are not necessarily related to the 11 at the beginning. The 4 at the end I had in the hospital. I had 30 seconds to live, according to my surgeon, after the 11. And I said, what, 30 seconds before you open me up? He goes, no, you don't have time to open you up. You're done. It's profound. And if nothing else, It means that every one of you assholes whose fathers, uncles, and grandfathers had any form of coronary artery disease or heart disease, get thee to your frickin' doctor and demand a calcium test and an echocardiogram. If I'd have had a $600 gross, I mean, it cost about $150 to me, to have an echocardiogram, a full scan, an ultrasound. You know, those of you with kids, you've seen the ultrasound of your baby. You have to know what's going on. Now, if they'd have done that to my heart, I'd had surgery. I had an EKG. I had checked the electricity going through my heart. No problem at all. I had 100% blockage in my Widowmaker. That took about 20 years to create for the want of $150 copay. It cost $2 million to keep me alive. It took the resources of 40 or 50 people, not one of whom made a mistake and who I owe my life to. But if any of you hear this and you know that your dads or your grandfather or your uncle or whatever had this issue, you're idiots. Go to the frickin' doctor. You know, it's bad enough I had skin cancer for 18 months and didn't go, which led to me having a surgery. I mean, I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute prize idiot. The truth of the matter is, this world is hard enough and tough enough without taking care of our business. When you see what the gift is, when you see what you're leaving behind, when you see what you haven't taken care of, you're not a tough guy not going to the dentist. You're not a tough guy not going to the doctor, right? And worse, you're not a tough guy if you're suffering from mental health disorders and you don't get help. That's the answer. This is a tough, tough life. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are having the hardest time they've ever had. It's a different world than 20 years ago. It's a different world than 40 years ago. And if you're hurting, you got to talk. You stay on your own. You sit around. You don't say anything. You're an idiot. And I've seen what I'd leave behind. My trauma comes from seeing my family and not being able to tell them it was going to be okay. I got this. I was going, this might be the last chance I get to talk. Ever. It wasn't comforting and it wasn't happy. I was disappointed in myself and I was angry. So if nothing else, check on yourself. If you see somebody else struggling, when did it become uncool to put your hand out and say, can I help you? When did that become uncool? When did we stop doing that? It saves everything. That's what helps. Are you okay? And then not taking yes for an answer. You know? Talk, for God's sakes. I was talking to a gentleman today and I reminded of what some friend said to me, which was, the mind is a dangerous neighborhood. Don't go in there alone. You know? Some of you veterans, some of you also, nobody knows what anybody's carrying. Nobody knows what anybody's suffered. Nobody knows what trauma's like you've been through. Nobody knows that stuff. But if you don't talk about it, it's not going to get better. It's not. It's going to only get worse. And the cost to everybody around you is high. It's really high. They can love you as much as there is, but they can't make you go to the frickin' doctor, you know? They can love you as much as there is, but they can't make you go talk to somebody. That's the answer for everything. And that's the change. It's the change I want. So if anybody's willing, some of you got kids here, so I can understand if you don't. But hands up anyone who's got a diagnosed mental health disorder. Right. Turn around and look behind you with your hand up. Look around. Put your hands down, guys. A lot of the rest of you are either lying or embarrassed. Or haven't been yet, right? But that's the truth. We are all in a different place than we used to be. It used to be we had more communities. It used to be we had more ways of doing this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? I'm seeing this every day. What I love about Supernatural is it pulls people together. It pulls people with like-minded attitudes, and these subjects are about this. They're about this. They're about mental health. They're about sticking together. They're about fighting demons. They're about these amazing things. And I see people coming together here. How many fights do you see at a Supernatural convention? None, right? I mean, anybody here worried about getting robbed in this place? I'm not. You know what I'm saying? That's the point. We can do it, and we do care. Best place in the world to have a panic attack? Convention. You got 150 people you never met become your best friend instantaneously, and then one of them will go, stand back, give them room. You know, somebody came up and asked me a question. They have anxiety. That's fantastic to me. This is a safe place. Keep it a safe place. But let's grow it. Let's grow this. Let's take this and try to bring this into our communities. Let's just try, because it's important. And the world does make it difficult to do. There's a lot of polarization and a lot of anger and a lot of stuff, but you can break through that stuff. Kindness changes everything. If you're suffering, your obligation is to talk about it. I hate to tell you that. We can't help you if we can't see you, right? We know when you're lying, but if we don't see you, it's a problem. So show up, even when you don't feel good, right? And if you see somebody suffering, your obligation is to put your hand out and say, what can I do? And then you get to feel like a human being when you help. That's the greatest thing in the world. You get to feel good. You get to go, all right, I'm a member of the human race and I'm happy. I have an extraordinary life. I have an extraordinary group of friends. I have an extraordinary journey that I've been on. I love you guys so much, you have no idea. You might think we show up for some cynical reason or whatever, but we show up to see you because we don't have an audience when we're making what we're making. But when we come to a convention, we get our audience. We get to see what we did. And your proof of what we did kind of works, you know? And we're so proud of it. We're proud of you. We're happy. I love high-fiving babies and hearing people's stories and doing those things. I want to thank Casey and everybody for putting a great convention together. It's Altoona. It makes it a little difficult. I'll probably have to eat dinner at some ungodly hour of the night somewhere, but I'm really, really glad to be here. My life would not be the same without you. Thank you for being here. Look after each other. God bless, and thank you for this life.
Mark Sheppard, please give him a big hand.
Hi, this is Aaron Douglas, Chief from Battlestar Galactica. You are watching Fandom Spotlight. Have fun and follow your fracking fandom.